I was thinking, often I introduced you as somebody who's working on the margins, and you used the word so-called margins, and you qualified it. And I agree, because margins has almost, it has a truth, obviously.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it almost pushes these fellow human beings, our brothers and sisters who are suffering in this way, it pushes them even a little step further away to say that they are on the margins. And it seems to me that what you're saying is something that I have come to feel more and more, is that that is where the center is. And that's why the gospel is a challenging and reorganizing principle of not only personal life, but of social life and the understanding of human organization, that the center of reality is more likely to be found not in the centers of power and wealth and prestige and influence, but much more likely that the center of reality is found on what we call the margins.
Yeah.
And what it seems to me, that's what it seems to me you found. That's why it's empowering, energizing, and liberating for you to serve in that way. And you know you're serving God, who is the center of reality there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that is also such a powerful revolutionary thing. We've spoken about contemplative revolution in the past. It's revolution because you're shifting the center of power. Isn't that right?
Yeah, and Pope Francis, he talks about this preferential option for the poor. And I like Francis. I think he's been a breath of fresh air within the corridors of power in the Vatican. And of course, he's encountered massive resistance, hasn't he? You know, I kind of despair sometimes. If you read the tablet or something and you think, God, is that really happening? How the hell, how far removed has institutional church got in some areas from the original essence of Jesus' message? You know, where have we gone wrong? And so Francis has kind of come in and he's steered us back. And I think Francis is having such a positive effect that he's a voice for good within the secular world as within the world of religion. A lot of people who won't have anything to do with organized religion listen to Francis. He's got a humility about him, hasn't he? He really has. And listening to what you were saying there, Laurence, you've used the word hope, and hope is important. You know, without hope in our hearts, it's terribly difficult. And another word that inspires me is the word dignity. So every person, no matter, you know, they've got a different color skin, they might smell because they're sleeping rough on the streets, they've got a drug addiction, that person is just the same as you and I. That person is looking for love, looking for approval, and often experiences society and doors slamming in the face. And that takes me right back to the grapes of wrath, you know, and that injustice. So meditation, I believe, helps to restore a sense of justice in the world, social justice, equanimity, equilibrium, altruism, compassion, you know, love. It's a unifying force for good. And I think one of the advantages of meditation, when we close our eyes, does it matter anymore what color skin we are? What, you know, if we gay or straight or somewhere in between, if we're rich or poor, if we're male or female, none of it matters anymore. We go beyond all the outer appearances of wealth or poverty. And I think we meet each other there in that sacred space. And it's beautiful. We can't go wrong, can we? We cannot go wrong with meditation.
Well, I think you've turned the grapes of wrath into a beautiful wine. I know you tread it every day, and I know it's tiring for you. And as you said yourself, there are moments of discouragement and moments of frustration, moments of anger, even though you do have great resilience, and you know where that resilience comes from, which is even more wonderful, and you know the source of that resilience in yourself. But I just want to thank you for this, what you've said and how you've said it, and I think it's wonderful for me as part of this community, and it makes me very proud. Is maybe not the right word, but proud it will do. Proud of you, and proud that that the community, you know, has you testifying, witnessing to everything you've described today. And, you know, there are many people who will be inspired and share 100% in what you're saying, but don't have the opportunity. You know, they've got kids to raise, or they've got, you know, other responsibilities. They can't have the privilege, in a way, of your being in the center of reality in the margins as much as fully as you are. But I think they will feel blessed by hearing what you say. And I hope you feel that too. I know you do, that all the work that you've done and the many different ways in which you serve the poor and the forgotten and the marginal and the people who have doors slammed in their faces, that that I know the experience of being part of the community and an oblate in the community is of tremendous strength and inspiration to you. So that's what community is. We can't all do the same thing. We don't all have the same gifts, but we support each other in doing what we're called to do.
Yeah. Well said, Laurence. Yes, indeed. And I do have a great sense of belonging. I find I've always found a home within WCCM, and I knew that I'd come home because I've been on various journeys through my lifetime. There's no doubt about that. I've been to some dark places during my lifetime. And I've also studied Eastern faiths and philosophies and got to know Jesus at a much deeper level by studying things like Hinduism and reading about people like B. Griffiths and Henri de Sceaux and, you know, The Cave of the Heart, all of these kind of books. And kind of then when I came back to my Catholic roots, I was inspired by the Dalai Lama, and I was once at a conference in Manchester, and I asked a question, because in those days I was going to you know, take refuge in the Buddha and stuff, because I had up to here with fear and guilt as a kid, being brought up within the Catholic creed. And he said, no need, you know, blossom where you're planted, simply be like Christ. And those words really resonated with me. They really did. And then I read the book, The Good Heart. And when I read that book, I thought, this is it. This is it. You know, I had no idea that meditation was part of my own tradition, if you like. And that perfect bridge between East and West, and the perfect interfaith connection. So you know, that's when I kind of discovered the community. And I remember going to York and speaking to John Hour, who was the coordinator there, and he was a great guy. I got on really well with him. You know, and it was like coming home. It was like coming home. And the first time I met you was at Minster Acres, actually, and that was 18 years ago. It was the first retreat that I did with WCCM. It was a 4-day retreat, and it was good for me, because my marriage had just broken up, and I knew that I was going to go to Minster Acres and close my eyes, and there, you know, I had to face my sorrow and my pain, you know, because it was a silent retreat. But I remember come the end of that retreat, it was Thursday to Sunday, when I drove back home strong enough to face what I had to face. So I knew the effectiveness of the practice. It's empowering. It doesn't change the outside situations for any of us, does it? Life goes on. But by God, it gives us a connection to something much bigger than us that empowers us within those same situations.
Certainly does. Well, we've got 2 years before we celebrate our 20th anniversary, Terry.
Yeah.
So we'll keep you in our prayer, in our heart, and as our brother and friend, and really thank you for the amazing witness you're making, and know that we are with you all the way.
Thanks, Laurence. I appreciate that. I've enjoyed chatting with you. Thank you.